All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.253. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with headlines featuring U.S. Open Cup, blue cards, Pog Boom, and Prison FC's dumbest recruit. Weekly What If, we'll talk Premier Hooligan League. Then in the Premier League section, we'll talk Manchester Derby, Forest Fury, and preview of the big one, Liverpool hosting City this weekend. Around the world, MLS Minuteman is back. Real reffing ridiculousness, and U.S. women's national team. And finally, stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets, where we're hot, not thermonuclear hot, but we're hot. And everyone's favorite segment, Go Us. Now, time to welcome in this week's distinguished panel of beauty, starting off with Mr. Mikey Fowler. Mikey, I know we were just texting and you said that Vince Vaughn isn't like your sort of day-to-day boss or whatever, but have you had any conversations with him about Curb Your Enthusiasm? Because I don't know if he's been like a recurring. I'm not a big Curb guy. I watch it here and there, but the wifey was watching it the other day and I was like, that's Vince Vaughn. So is this like a new thing, a new phase of
No,
the
he's
Vince
been doing
Vaughn?
it for a while and he doesn't talk about it much. So I don't really know how it happens, really. I don't know how anything gets done.
Nothing. You're
It's a
just
miracle anything you ever watch is made.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'll probably come back to this at some point. But we'll get it going. So Tyler Terrence, you're up next. The hardest working man in MLS commentating, at least for the last week. Give us the sort of blow by blow. How was the double dipper this weekend?
Honestly, like some of the most fun I've had in 48 hours in a long time. It was, Minneapolis. I didn't get in until midnight on Friday. 1 o'clock Central Time kickoff, home opener for Minnesota United in this like really bizarre limbo. And they were missing four of their best attacking players outside of Temu Pukki, and they still get a result. And a kid who's making his fourth appearance scores the equalizer, and then off to Boston, but my flight got delayed 3 hours, so I didn't get to Foxborough until 3:30 in the morning on Sunday. And Alajuelense was getting in at the same time that I was, the team that they're playing from Costa Rica in CONCACAF Champions Cup. So I didn't get checked into my hotel until like 3:45, 4 o'clock. Woke up at like 8 or 9 to turn on some Premier League, fell back asleep, walked over, or like literally like stumbled over to Gillette. And then another great game, Toronto FC hold on and seen a ridiculous chip. And then um, just one of those weekends where I just was fully reminded of how fucking cool my job is. And it was fun the entire time. It was amazing.
Nice. One of those things where you didn't know how it was going to work out, and probably you felt like you were sort of just catching his catch can the whole time, but
Yeah.
it just sort of it worked out. So that's good. Great. Fantastic. We'll move on then to headlines. So we're going to run through these kind of quickly because we got a lot to talk about this week in other segments. But the first one, U.S. Soccer Federation announced, or finally disclosed, that a grand total of 8 MLS teams will be playing in the U.S. Open Cup this year. I think that's obviously a small fraction of the 29 teams that are eligible, those being U.S. based teams. I don't know, Mikey, have I asked you, you've kind of been on and off. We've talked US Open Cup here and there. Have I asked you about this? What are your sort of thoughts on, the MLS kind of eschewing this competition this year?
It's sad. I don't have much more thought to add to that than obviously that. I think it's all getting very diluted. We'll talk about it probably even with the Champions League format where the strain on players is just getting too much. So politics aside, it just sucks that we're not seeing games in general.
Yeah. Agreed. And we've talked about this sort of ad nauseum at this point. It's disappointing. And, I hate the way MLS is going about it. I will say that I do think that they probably have some points. Like there's some merit to the things MLS are saying, that US soccer has kind of been dropping the ball for years and not making this competition a bigger thing. Whatever, we'll move on. Second up in headlines, we got FIFA banning, well, not banning, but scrapping the blue cards, which is kind of the talk of the town for about 48 hours a couple weeks ago. So they're just getting rid of it. I thought the most interesting part of that is that the way that Gianni Infantino explained the way that they're getting rid of it. He's like, oh yeah, this has never really been a thing for FIFA. We're not dude, you're the one that pushed this in the first place. Like, it's just such an Infantino move. I don't know. I don't have anything to say. It's good they're getting rid of the blue cards. I think that after some discussion and after some contemplation, I came around to the fact that I thought it was a terrible idea, and we have the mechanisms to deal with the issues they're talking about with yellow cards and red cards, just if the refs use them in a better way. Okay, one we'll actually get to talk about a little bit here, Paul Pogba. So the man, the myth, the legend was, I think, all of his appeal, not all of his appeals, most of his appeals have now been exhausted, and he was handed a 4-year ban for PEDs. Tyler, what are your thoughts? You know, he's going to be 35 or 34 or 35 when he comes off of this suspension. You know, whether he could play, I guess we'll see at that point. But what is the legacy of Paul Pogba at this point?
It's a cautionary tale to, arguably one of the most just purely talented midfielders that we've seen in the past 25 or 30 years, who did some outrageously ridiculous things, especially at Juventus. And he's going to go down as a guy who, didn't win much other than a couple of Serie A titles, and, was pretty mediocre at Manchester United outside of some moments, and fucking using steroids, man. What are you gonna do? Like, I just, in this day and age, to make that decision, and trust me, it was a decision. It just baffles me, but it's not totally surprising given some of the other things that he's been around and been involved in his career.
Yeah, it's probably such a minuscule sort of part to the story of Paul Pogba, but the witch doctor element, that story will stay with me forever. One Incredible. Quick thing on his resume, he did win a World Cup. We'll give him that.
Oh, he scored in a final.
So yeah, Mike, what
I'm sorry, I meant obviously just as far as club was concerned.
Sure. That's fair.
I think you have the angle all wrong here. I think the story is just how big of a come up this is for Gerard Piqué's league. I'm nearly positive he'll end up playing there within the next 4 years. No, it's going to be funny to see who finds a way to get him on a roster after 2.
Who's at the top of your list to sign Pogba when he's 33 or 34 and his ban is up?
I mean, me in my Leighton Orient save. Someone else though, I can't really think about it. It's going to end up being like Wrexham or something stupid.
I was thinking MLS. I was thinking
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's MLS.
Yeah,
I was thinking Galaxy. It just seems like
it'll be a club that hasn't even been founded yet.
I think Galaxy have moved on. I think that era is over. I think that they're trying to get guys like Gabriel Peck and Paintsill, and those guys can fucking ball.
Gillette.
All right. Okay. A new era started like yesterday for Galaxy. Okay, that's fair.
You're such a fucking hater. I brought up the Galaxy last week too, and you
did. You listen. I will say, if this season sort of plays out and Galaxy ends up being anywhere close to what you're saying, I'm going to give you your flowers. You were the first one I've heard sort of being.
I don't need you to give them to me. I'm just going to fucking take them. I don't need you to give
them. There was one other. One thing that has to go on Paul Pogba's resume, legacy, whatever. The amount of money that he basically stole from the Glazers has got to be sort of somewhere on there, right? I mean, like how much Juve basically built United not once but twice for him. It's just an amazing accomplishment. So all the Glazer haters, I feel like you got to give, send some positive vibes Paul Pogba's way. All right. Last but not least, well, actually last and least this time, Quincy Promes, the latest and greatest and dumbest addition to Prison FC. So this guy, he's a Dutch citizen. He came up playing for Ajax. He got convicted recently of playing a part in the trafficking of, what was it? 1.36 kilograms of cocaine from Brazil to Netherlands. So he got, convicted of that. While that whole court case was going on, he got in trouble for stabbing his cousin. And then this is all going on at the same time. So now he plays for Spartak Moscow. There's apparently no, extradition, between Russia and Netherlands. So he kind of feels like he's safe. He went to Dubai last week. Dubai does have an extradition agreement with Netherlands, That actually is not necessarily the crux of the matter here, though. So he was in Dubai, not necessarily going to be extradited to the Netherlands, but then he got in a hit and run crash in Dubai while he's there just for a week, like with Spartak Moscow. Just this levels, the layers of stupidity that go into sort of this story are incredible, mind blowing. I'm not so much saddened. I'm just in awe of the guy, and I don't know what's going to happen now. I assume that given he was detained, and I assume now he will be sent to the Netherlands and have to deal with all sorts of repercussions from past transgressions. And all I gotta say is, brother, you had a lot of chances, and you still fucked it
Where
up.
do you think he's going to play when he gets out?
Not MLS, not Galaxy, maybe Rex.
Las Vegas Lights with Jose Bautista.
Oh my God, what a dummy. What a dummy. All right, we'll move on. We got a lot to talk about this week. So we will head to weekly what if. This is a wild one. And we're gonna go to you first, Mikey. So if the Premier League, instead of deciding their title this season, with soccer on the field, what if they had to decide it by hooligan fights in the street? So that you'd take in the roster, instead of playing soccer, you're fighting in the street as hooligans. Who's winning the Premier League?
Arsenal's soft as shit. That's a great question. Can the manager get involved?
Yes, has to.
Okay, Deitch's boys.
Yeah, that was got to be Everton.
Yeah,
They're the biggest, the baddest. Not
he's like
necessarily soccer.
he's like the Napoleon of Premier League coaches, if it comes to that.
I don't know if I feel like we were unanimous for the first time ever on this. I was thinking Dyche would lead Everton on this. Is there a second place? Even like I'm trying to think of like who's got some just big boys.
Honestly, Liverpool between Van Dijk, Konate, Joe Gomez.
Klopp's
Luis
a big
Diaz
boy.
I feel like Andy Robertson would sort of go like full brick in Anchorman and would just like throw a trident at somebody and fucking kill him.
He's Scottish. You got to watch out for them. That's fair.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, no doubt. Yeah, okay. Liverpool's not a bad shot.
And I'm not being a homer here. I'm just calling it how it is.
You as a homer? Never.
No.
All right. Premier
Unbiased
League time. Most interesting result of the weekend. Let's start with you, Mikey. What are your thoughts here?
Putting me right on the spot. Most interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of just sheer like fascination, I'm surprised Forest hung. That looked like thought that was going to be really easy. I think if we look back on betting like trends, we probably should have seen some opportunity in 1.5s for Liverpool the week before City, or City likely. I mean, they ended up with a 3-1 scoreline, but they did not look good either. So I think for interest for me, it was the predictability of a little bit of a lackluster Liverpool and City performances. But sadly enough for me, both teams end up finding a way to get 3 points at the end of it. So championship type moments with about 10-15 weeks to go. These are kind of really important moments. So just getting the results for both those teams is what's interesting to me and very frustrating.
Yeah, I think that's hugely so. In fact, I had the same thought about top 4 with Aston Villa. And
so frustrating, dude.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you're in a title race with 2 proper teams.
I know. It's fucking crazy.
Well, listen, we're going to talk about them individually. Let's start with Forest and Liverpool. So Liverpool, Tyler, got to get your thoughts. So Liverpool did pull out the win, not exactly impressive. There was a whole heap of controversy at the end of this.
Seriously, for you to start it off like that, like why did I even come on tonight? I should have just watched The Bachelor with my girlfriend and just spent my time in a better way than this.
That's fair. Listen, you can frame it. How would you frame it? How would you frame this? I won't even say lackluster. I'll just leave it 1-0 win against Nottingham Forest.
Look at who we're playing. We got 3rd string right backs running around, and I know that Chelsea fans, and every single podcaster and social media personality were like, they're not that young. Harvey Elliott's already made 100 appearances, and these are grown men out here. Salty ass bitches, number 1. Okay. Number 2, any win we get right now, given what's going on, is impressive. So I don't want to hear any shit about like the fact that we go on the were we on the road? My head was spinning.
It was at
We were on
Forest.
okay, we won a road Premier League game with like 9 backups playing. It's impressive. End of story. That's it.
Interesting. That's all I said.
Agreed. It is interesting. It is interesting that we got that result in the way that we did. It's not surprising. It's interesting.
Interesting. Okay. What about so removing that whole element, just from Forest fan perspective, what do you think about the fans going absolutely bonkers after the game about there were a couple things. The biggest one was the drop ball that they basically Forest had the ball in your final third or whatever. I think it was Kanate went down with a head injury. People were saying he faked it. I actually saw the replay. It looked like he legit got like kicked in the head. But they were mad because instead of giving Forrest a drop ball in your third, they I don't know what they did. I think they gave you the ball. I think that was the big talking point.
I didn't see that. I was in the middle of also getting ready, so I was like trying to watch while simultaneously.
It's a mistake, but like
it was a mistake.
Welcome to the fucking Prem.
Seriously. Yeah.
It did seem like they were making, like, granted, they played a good game.
I'm gonna get so much shit for that.
A top tier of what you are.
Welcome to the. Luckily, I don't know any Nottingham Forest fans.
They're such like, oh my god, you've been aggrieved. Like it's you've been aggrieved against title contending Newcastle in Klopp's last season. Welcome to the narrative, buddy. Welcome to the Barclays.
He said Newcastle, not Liverpool. I love that. But listen, Forest fans, I do feel for them in a certain sense because they hung with a very good Liverpool team. Yeah, maybe it's a lot of your B teamers, but like they hung with you for so long, and they could sort of see that point. They could feel it, and to sort of lose in the way they did near the end. Darwin Nunez of all people. Although I think is it time to start giving Nunez just like a little bit more respect
at this point?
At this point,
no, I think people are. I think you're still memeing him to death.
I don't know about that, but I was in my mind. I might still sort of be thinking of him as
he shook that
Donkey
off.
Darwin.
It happened.
All right,
it happened.
We got to give it up. All right. I think the long story short, Forrest did get screwed on that play, but it's such a small, facet of a big game that it's tough to. It's a bad luck to cry as much as they did, and the owner. I'm just surprised this is the first time we're hearing about the Greek owner actually being on the field and going after ref. I feel like that's like something that Greek owners do like every week, everywhere. So I'm a little shocked it took till now. Hopefully it doesn't go any further than that because I've heard of Greek owners doing some other things that are a little over the line. Okay, other games. Some of the other ones. We got to talk about the Manchester Derby. There were some other results. Fulham beating Brighton handily. Luton hanging with, but losing to Villa. But Manchester Derby, obviously the highest profile game of the weekend. Manchester United came out, took a lead, 1-0. Marcus Rashford, bomb. Woo! Just out of nowhere. And then I think that was the last time that Rashford may have touched the ball all game.
No.
Is it not?
He's a big time 1 goal, 1 shot on target guy.
No.
There was the foul.
He touched the ball. It was just horrendous for the rest of the game. Like the swing and a miss on the tight angle, granted a tight angle, but he's right there. And then the 1v1, if he heads the ball not straight down at his feet, he's in. Like I've never seen that level of quality from a strike followed by just a level of like confusion and discombobulation. Maybe Nunez.
I was just gonna say we just talked about Donkey Darwin.
Erling.
It is quintessential.
Nunez gets further up the field before he starts to fuck around. Like Rashford couldn't even get there before it fell apart.
That's fair enough. Listen, this game, City was so incredibly dominant in this game. I thought for a second that maybe when Haaland missed that sitter, I thought, wow, is this really
come on? You really thought that they might pull off a result?
No, not really. But when he missed that, I was like, if he's missing these, Jesus, anything's possible. No, just the way that they controlled that game, I never thought, United
more shots than possession number.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I don't want to say that Foden hasn't gotten his flowers properly yet, but with Grealish's performances last year during the treble run, and the expectation for City to win the Premier League. Like, where does Foden rank right now in terms of wingers in the Premier League? Like,
It's so funny too, because when De
He's
Bruyne
so
is
good.
out, you learn how good of a 10 he is. And like he's
also
almost
that.
being wedged in there, and you're just like, my God, what isn't this guy capable of pulling off right now? When he's in form like this, it's pretty glimmery. So yeah, he is like well and truly diamond dozen or diamond in the rough. So
Diamond dozen versus diamond in the rough.
Diamond dozen
no,
Foden.
but like people make that City Academy joke all the time that there's 10 of them at Barcelona and stuff like that. So he's one of the first that's like, no, he's risen above everybody else. So
He certainly has. Him with the ball at his feet. I mean, he's just it's
probably doesn't start
mesmerizing.
for England today, which is pretty funny.
What's that?
I'm just kidding. I don't want to get in that argument that everyone's had online, but the England team is going to be pretty interesting.
It's true. It's true. All right. Any other games?
Fulham left back again.
Fulham, Fulham handily beat Brighton. Luton lost.
Fulham looked
late.
good. Fulham looked really good.
They did against the Brighton team that is still well in the top of the table. So Fulham is, I don't know what Fulham is this season. They've kind of been all over the place. But I'm happy every time I see them win. We got Robinson, we got oh my God, my brain is so fried. Tim the Dream. Yeah, okay. We're gonna skip power rankings this week because I know that Tyler is allergic to them. We're gonna go to the weekend preview, where obviously the biggest game of the weekend is probably one of the biggest games of the season, weekend or season in, season out anyway. We got Liverpool hosting City, and this is with what is it? So Arsenal's still top of the table at the moment, I believe. No, Liverpool go top.
What? Arsenal? When's the last time Arsenal was top?
I thought my brain
weeks ago
is broken right now.
Months.
I just think of the three together, and there's games in hand.
The celebration that incurred at the Emirates after they beat Liverpool and Martin Odegaard is taking pictures of everybody naked. Like, you were just like, oh, this is the celebration that's worthy of them being at the top of the table. Oh wait, they're still in third.
Thank you. That's where my brain was going.
That's what I was going to say.
But listen, it's the three teams together. Who is in first at the moment? In my brain, it doesn't necessarily matter on March 4th. So I just kind of put it together as a 3-team race. Liverpool's on 63 points, Man City's on 62, and Arsenal's on 61. Oh, no games in hand at the moment as well. So that makes it nice and easy. So first place, Liverpool hosting second place, Manchester City. We'll give the guy with no biases at all whatsoever some intro thoughts. Tyler, what do you think here?
For sure we're going to say Mikey there.
That's the joke.
Got it.
Well, I mean, but it's not really a joke because both of us are just, we do it in different ways though. We do it in different ways. We're like Liverpool and City when it comes to, styles of play and our biases. But anyway, I mean, every single stop for Liverpool this year, every game where you thought that their roster wasn't strong enough or too many kids out or whatever it is, they find a way to get it done. Forest, Cup,
everyone.
I mean,
Big
for the past 3 weeks since the Arsenal loss. I just feel like they found a way to get it, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm fucking nervous.
Yeah.
I'm real nervous. I don't think, I mean, it's obviously going to depend if Salah's available, and it doesn't seem like even if he is, he'll be able to play more than like 25 minutes or something like that. And you don't want to risk bringing him back too early because you already did that once this year. Yeah.
What's game flow going to look like to you? What's game flow going to look like?
Not nearly as back and forth and like exchanging uppercuts as we typically see, but I think it's going to be Liverpool on the counter, but very, very dangerous on the counter. And with that, I think that, you saw United able to expose them at times. And I do say that with as much disdain and like shade as possible, because they are a mid-table club. But if we're able to do that, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Pep plays it and if he really just goes after it the way that we expect him to, because Nunez is probably going to start. And I think that he might get one or two. I'm telling you, like the way that City are capable of being exposed, this is just setting up for Liverpool to potentially steal a result in a game which they have no business doing it. But it's because of how good they are on the counter, and they're probably not going to have much of the ball. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One thing to point out, you guys actually have you have a midweek game as well. You play Sparta Prague
Sparta Prague. Yeah.
on Thursday. So that's
I'd play, not that we haven't been doing anything too dissimilar to this. I'd play our U23 team in that game. I don't give a fuck about Europa League.
yeah.
I could not care less. Even if it was a Champions League game, I would say play the children.
It is home and home, right? So it's not like it's necessary. It's at Sparta Prague, so it is in
Light
away.
travel.
Yeah, light travel to Eastern Europe on a Thursday when you play on Sunday.
They might not even send Klopp.
Rest him up.
So basically your thought is, it'll be a little more cagey than a typical Liverpool City game. Not necessarily sort of the back and forth, a little bit more like City's probably going to have the ball a fair bit more. You do think it's possible to get a result, though?
I think it's possible. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do.
We're just going to
I don't think it's probable. I think it's possible.
Okay. That's what I was going to push you on, where that line was. Okay. Mikey, how important is this to the title race?
First of all, I hope both teams play great. I hope both teams defend well, and I hope it's just like
stretch really well, no injuries. Yeah,
perfect game of chess. No, it's from a neutral perspective, it's the least excited I've been for one of these in a long time.
Yeah,
I feel like it's never seemed so. The beautiful thing about two teams this good playing in any league really is that guys make moments, and it's not a game that's like determined by a low block or a system or all this crap. Guys have moments that make it special, and I don't know if I love like the most likely outcomes here are not as magical as they have been in the past. So
there's just not as many of them, right? It seems
not.
like Liverpool have players that could, have a moment of brilliance and score a goal. Like Donkey Darwin, we probably do need to drop the donkey at this point. Like Darwin can come up. Donkey, Darwin King. It's like in my brain at this point.
Just drop the Darwin.
Yeah, just call him Donkey. We'll call it as a facetious, sarcastic. He has he can score against anybody. He could have that moment on a counter against anybody, especially the City team. But like, it's not like you have Salah, Firmino, Mane, all the Jota, whatever, all the Diaz. It's not like you have so many different ways you could get at City.
I'm not even saying that either. I think City's even less beautiful than they've been. They're so systematic and dare I say,
and they made some mistakes. They were almost the architect of their demise against United too. Like they are not playing at the same level that we're used to seeing. Both of these teams are vulnerable, and I think we've been saying that about City for most of the year because Haaland's been hurt or not scoring, and then De Bruyne has been hurt for most of the season. So like that's not anything new for City, but Diaz and the other thing too is that like Diaz and some of these guys and like some of these younger players have been asked to like break down really low blocks against teams like Forest and against teams that are technically inferior to them. And if they're going to have the space to operate that they typically like to have, I think that they're actually going to find a little bit more joy in the game than they have in other situations this year so far.
Well, you talk about vulnerable. What scares me is that Liverpool and City both look vulnerable in their ways. Liverpool, like, you guys just can't stay healthy. City just doesn't look like the City team that.
But yet we're both finding a way to grind out a result every.
Yes. But then you have an Arsenal team who comes in and just
we're grinding results too.
Bitch smacks Sheffield United on Monday 6-0. That was one of the ugliest, and I know there's been some big results. Like there was 8-0. I think it was Southampton lost to somebody, United, I believe. Newcastle. Okay. Newcastle also took Spurs behind the woodshed recently. But this was just, it felt so lopsided, so much like Arsenal could have scored, 10 easily. This just felt like, I know that part of it is probably just Sheffield's terrible, but seeing that result, watching Arsenal do that after I've sort of watched Liverpool and watched City, I said this last week. I'll say it again this week. I'm actually legitimately afraid of what's
Don't
going to
do
happen.
this. Don't.
This is
do
not a reverse jinx.
We had
Allow
10
last
point lead
season.
this time
I
last year.
don't. I hear what you're saying, but as somebody who doesn't have a dog in this North London, Chihuahua fight here, I don't think that this Arsenal group and I'm going to sound like a Liverpool fan when I say this. I don't think that they have the same mentality that City and Liverpool do. After having already been in this battle 4 or 5 different times over the past 7 years, Arsenal they just don't have the chops to be able to like win 10 games in a row and not blink.
I can see the gears like moving in Mikey's
No,
head.
there's
He's
nothing-
like,
there's
I
nothing
want to
to say.
reverse jinx this, but wait, no,
There's
I really
nothing
am
to say.
angry. I'm like, you don't know where to go with this.
Last year is like people. I don't know if the exact attention span of the normal idiot in the soccer sphere is less than 365 days, but for people that like want to have a counter argument as an Arsenal fan, every one of us should just. This is exactly where we would want to be in this kind of situation. Last year, the team in the like being the one that's getting chased as the top team, as a young team, is a lot harder than I think lurking behind what people are thinking. A lot of people think like Tyler do about the 2 teams above us. And I think it's like a very advantageous position to keep playing how we're playing and not get in the discussion. I think it's better for the players. I think it's better for the mindset of the team and maturity. Like I think sitting in third until it's like really late and you can put one last push together is a better situation than playing in these games this Sunday.
Agreed, but the only problem here is that City are probably going to hit their top form within the next 3 to 4 weeks, and Liverpool are going to start to get healthy. So like, and the problem with what you're saying too is that you're also chasing the 2 teams, really the only 2 teams who have been in this race and who have done this for the past 7 or 8 years, where it's like you have to rattle off 13 or 14 in a row just to be considered a title contender. Because Arsenal ended up falling off so much last year, and it's like, and again, I don't. We all saw it coming, right? And Mikey, even though you were hoping, like it was always a matter of like, can you really fend off?
But it got real. It got really real.
And that's totally fine. And I agree with you. But like chasing Liverpool and City or trying to stave them off, I almost would be like, you guys tried to stave them off last year. I'd rather be in that position now if you guys, given the makeup for Liverpool and City right now, and the possibility of them both hitting form and getting healthy for the past month of the season.
Yeah. The only hope I guess you could have here is that, Liverpool don't get healthy. That's not a guarantee. And and City kind of continue to have some question marks around the 11 that I think.
And I hate to throw this in there, but the whole team of destiny thing with us right now, there's more than a hint of it. There's more than a hint. If there's anybody who's going to generate that sort of non-tangible juju, it's Jurgen Klopp, and it's happening right now.
Do you think Liverpool is going to win the title this year?
Yes.
Who would you rather, Mikey? Who would you rather, if you're not going to win it? Who would you rather win it?
Bane. No, I don't know. And I don't want to see 4 in a row, so I'd probably say Arsenal.
Oh, wait, answer the question, Tyler. Do you think Liverpool's going to win it?
Yes.
I hope so. If you were going to ask me that question, I would probably root for Liverpool. The City winning it every year thing, I'm over that, and anybody but Arsenal. I mean, I would root for City over Arsenal any day of the week. But I would like to see somebody sort of new shake it up, and not like you guys are that new. You won what 3-4 years ago. God, winning trophies must be weird. All right, we will go to around the world. So there are some other games, but like let's move on. Villa City and Chelsea Newcastle. But let's go to around the world. So MLS. The Minuteman, the hit it and quit it Minuteman is here to do his thing. fresh off of actually calling 2 of the games, as we mentioned before. So he's got personal experience with 50% more, well, actually 100% more than usual. But give it to us. The best you got in 60-ish seconds about what was what in MLS this past weekend.
All right, let's start in the Twin Cities at Allianz Field for the home opener for Minnesota United, obviously awaiting the arrival of Manchester United assistant coach Eric Ramsey, who's going to be the youngest active full-time head coach of Major League Soccer history, 32 years of age. And Minnesota United able to eke out a 1-1 draw deep into stoppage time thanks to 23-year-old Tani Oluwaseyi of St. John's, who scored his first Major League Soccer goal basically with the last kick of the game. Now let's head over to Rio Tinto, where the game got delayed about 4 or 5 hours. It ends up being about like 5 or 6 inches of snow on the ground. Absolute madness. And Steve Cherundolo is not happy with the 3-0 result and the fact that they had to play the game once again. Steve Cherundolo going towards outside influences to try to decide whether or not it's his team's performance or things that are out of his control that affected the performance. Inter Miami blow the doors off of Orlando City 5-0 at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale as Orlando City put to the sword by a Messi hat trick. Luis Suarez scoring a goal as well. Class performance from Miami and Orlando City just did not look up for it. Vancouver and Charlotte played to a 1-1 draw. Good result there. For Dean Smith's side on the road in a tough place to play north of the border, basically as far as you can get besides Fort Lauderdale to Vancouver in Major League Soccer as far as travel is concerned. Chicago Fire home opener at Soldier Field. They get an equalizer from Shaqiri, and then Miles Robinson in the second half ends up scoring the game-winning goal. So Cincinnati are going to take on Monterrey Rayados in the quarterfinals of CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they picked up a big 3 points over the weekend. They'll play that game against Monterrey this Thursday. FC Dallas playing at home against CF Montreal. Montreal somehow, some way, a group that not many people have finishing above 13th in the Eastern Conference, come away with a 2-1 win over a Dallas side that is dealing with some injuries and some other things and not the full complement of weapons. Sporting Kansas City and Philadelphia played to a controversial 1-1 draw. Alejandro Bedoya with the late equalizer after a couple of mistakes from the referee in the middle of the field, a mistake on a handball, a mistake on whether or not it was Philadelphia's throw-in, and then Bedoya scores on the ensuing play. St. Louis City at home against NYCFC at City Park. You can book it 2-0 win over Nick Cushing's side. Houston Dynamo at home against New York Red Bulls. And Red Bulls, big result, 2-1 against Ben Olsen's group, who, of course, are going to be taking on the Columbus Crew in CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinals. Colorado Rapids with a pretty impressive win over their former head coach and Gary Smith, who's in charge of Nashville SC. And it's a 1-1 finish at altitude. Seattle Sounders and Austin FC played to a snooze fest of a 0-0 draw. A couple of decent chances. San Jose Earthquakes at home against the LA Galaxy, and Joseph Paintsil and company get the job done. Paintsil's first goal, Gabriel Peck. Sam, I told you that this LA Galaxy team is for real. They go on the road in a California Classico, score 3 goals, only give up 1 professional performance away from their own patch in Carson. And how about Portland Timbers up 2-0 on DC United, and Troy Lessane's scrappy bunch of red and black boys somehow get a 2-2 result. And they probably should have won the game. Christian Fletcher, who was on loan with Swansea over the winter, gets the goal. He's going to get sold to Europe in due time. I'm telling you, I promise you, it's not a guess, it's a guarantee. New England Revolution at home in their home opener for league play, coming off of a round of 16 win against Caja Independiente, the Panamanian side. They thought that they had enough, especially in the first half, to get a goal, but Lorenzo Insigne, with the sauciest of chips, hold the dip, scores the lone goal. Toronto with 2 clean sheets to start out the season. Sean Johnson only had 6 all last year, and he's got 2 in the first 2 games. First win in the John Herdman era, and that would do it for technically match day number 3, week number 2 in Major League Soccer.
Well done, sir, as always. As you pointed out, DC United, quite a start for them this season. I know that we talked about it last week, that they got the win in the opening week last year, and then it was like sort of downhill from there. But like that's 2 results in a row. So we'll see. Shout out to Alex Bono, good friend of the program. The other thing I want to talk about that Cherundolo, the post game Cherundolo, interview and just playing the game itself. What do you think about that? Like, I kind of like it. It's like,
I love playing that.
Okay, all right, we're both on the same side here. Obviously it's a home field advantage type thing, and
is it? Who says who? How many of those guys on RSL have played in that type of game before?
That type of game, I don't know, but I would assume that they probably practiced in it here and there.
No, they would never go practice in that. If they're gonna go to an indoor facility if they need to practice on any given day, because they know that the chances of playing in a game like that are slim to none. Both teams had to deal with it. Like, yeah, it was ridiculous. There were delays, there was snow on the ground, but like it's fun. And you'll look back on it, I don't know. And I don't blame Steve Cherundolo for like pointing towards that, and his, LAFC clearly didn't look up for it for whatever reason. Um, but we've seen this from coaches all the time. I don't think it's necessarily Steve Cherundolo thinking that like the game should have been canceled. I think he's just trying to like take the attention away from his guys, which is also fair as a head coach.
Yeah, fair enough. By the way, Minnesota jersey right there. I like that. I like that jersey.
They hooked it up. They gave us the Starry Night kit. I got my name on the back and the whole thing. They gave us this for the home opener. Beautiful.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. That was the one that I really liked. They gave them and Charlotte top marks for their jersey this year. Okay. Well done, Minuteman. I leave satisfied as always. Next up, we will go to Spain real quick. La Liga. So the referee in this game came away. A lot of people were talking about this. So it was Valencia hosting Real Madrid. Valencia went up 2-0. Real Madrid came storming back in stoppage time. Jude Bellingham headed home what would have been a game winner, but instead of it being the game winner, referee called it. He called the game as like the cross was basically coming in. So, this was obviously the stoppage time is always a fun, sort of a fungible, sort of flexible thing. This one, was especially sort of egregious. It just sort of, there was a VAR check, actually maybe two of them. There was a really bad injury near the end of the game. It felt like the game was really, really disjointed at the end of it. But for the ref to end the game the way he did, and I'm going to put out the fact that my bias was towards allowing the goal because I did a mid-game over bet and over 4.5. So I'm biased on this one. But with the ball never having, so Real Madrid had a corner kick. They didn't score directly off the corner, but they did get the ball on the rebound and then essentially cross it in and score. Now, there's sort of this is one of those unwritten rules of soccer. Like the ref is basically saying, you know what, well, we're going to allow one more attack, essentially.
We saw it in Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your thoughts? You can sort of parlay that in as well, loop that in. But like, what are your thoughts on this? Do we need to? I saw a lot of people online, like more than usual in a situation like that. And maybe it's just because Real Madrid is so big and they got so many fans. People were livid. They were livid that the referee did this. They thought that, number one, you got to let that sort of attack play out, which I agree with. I do agree with that part.
Yep.
Then a lot of people were saying, well, we should, go to the next level and sort of have a different, more systematized clock system, so how much time is left and all that stuff. Where do you come down on that? First of all, on the decision by the ref to allow it, and then on the clock system.
I mean, the decision to allow it under how we operate right now with the rules, it's totally fine. And people get so wrapped up in like the fact that if it's 4 minutes of stoppage time and the play we finish at 94-27, that's a minimum. It's always
minimum, right.
It's not an exact. And that's why the commentators, and I always try to say it's a minimum of 4 added on, because if there's stoppages anywhere between the 90th minute and the 94th minute, that also needs to be added on. The whole concept of stoppage time is so that you can understand, so that you can play 90 minutes of football. Now, that's not going to be an exact science because they don't keep track of it that way. The fourth official tries to the best of his ability, but if you're going to try to get really technical with it and more exact and scientific, if you will, like then you're going to need to draw the line. Like, are we counting seconds where the goalkeeper is going to get the ball from behind the goal after it goes over the end line, and then to the point where he puts it down? When do you start the clock again? Like it gives such a headache. And the other thing too is that if Real Madrid was on the other side of the coin and they had scored, and or if it was the other way around,
scored on,
yeah, and they get scored on, like they would be crying about it the other way. So the stoppage time thing, and I know that that's a lot of American non-soccer fans, the ones who call it a communist sport and everything like that. They're just like, I can't cheer, I can't watch a sport where there's no scoring in a game, and you're always tying and you don't know when the game's going to end. And it's like it's pretty clear that you're trying to play 90 minutes within reason, and it adds in that element of like intangible drama that can just unfold at the end of the game, because at some point along the way there were a few seconds that were taken away from the players to be able to play 90 minutes. So I don't know. I'm fine with the way that it is. I really am. Especially as a commentator and somebody who's constantly covering a game as a neutral, it just always provides drama, and that's what we love this game for. So I know it sometimes fucks you over. I can confidently say I have never complained about that as a Liverpool fan or as a fan of any of or the U.S. men's national team. I'm never like, oh, they should have called the game. Fuck that. Like if they're on their way and they got one more attack, like let them finish it out. If we can't hold them off for one more, then we don't deserve to win.
Wholeheartedly sign off on that statement. I do think in this very specific instance, the refs should not have called that game. Like they were still on the attack and just let them play out.
Yeah, and like there's been refs who have called games when they're about to take a corner, and it's just like let it happen. Now, if it's like the fourth corner in a row, then we might start to have a different conversation past, it's already 3 minutes past the minimum or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you.
I agree. Okay, quickly, Champions League preview this weekend. We got Bayern hosting Lazio on Tuesday, actually at the same time as Real Madrid hosting PSG. So Bayern is up. Actually, they go home down 1-0, I believe. And so if Tuesdays were in my five-a-side overtrain bet, I would 100% bet the over in that Bayern Lazio game. There were a lot of chances in the first one. Real Sociedad heading home down 2-0 to PSG. I don't love that one quite so much if we're just talking overs. Then on Wednesday, we got Real Madrid heading home up 1-0 on RB Leipzig, and Man City up 3-1 heading home against Copenhagen. Any thoughts on that, or we move along?
I like Lazio, man. Bayern's a fucking dumpster fire. I love Lazio to advance. I really do.
I don't mind that at all. I just know there's going to be goals in that game.
Yes,
absolutely, but probably both ways. I'm actually surprised that only Lazio scored in the first leg. They both had shots galore. Bayern's finishing in that game was atrocious. Okay, quickly, last and not least, but last in the round the world section, U.S. women's national team. So it was an interesting week for the ladies. We had a 2-0 loss to Mexico. This was our first loss against them in maybe forever, if not a very long time. And it wasn't just the loss and the fact it was 2-0 was kind of a nice little twist of the knife, but it was the way they lost. And Mexico, La Tri, I think we can call them that, they looked good. And they looked like they were just the better team, which was like a bit eye-opening for me. I was kind of like, okay, what in the world is going on here? So then the U.S. came against Colombia on Sunday night. And this is a Colombia team that has some serious players. Caicedo plays for Real Madrid. This is a good team. But from the minute one, the U.S. just looked like they were the better dominant team. Colombia came in actually just as like, they looked like they were just shithousing. Like they came in to try and get in. Right, from the first kickoff, like they were just looking to try and get in the women's.
They must have not been watching film. Teams that actually go out and play soccer against the U.S. recently.
It was kind of weird. It was kind of strange. I did not expect that.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that. But the women, the U.S. team looked good. I mean, this is one of their better performances that I've seen. What I mean, like, yeah, they could have scored a few more. Alex Morgan.
They're in a weird spot right now.
They are in a weird spot. It's in a weird. We're early in the cycle. We got a new coach coming in. New generation that is sort of being worked in. It's a weird time.
But for us to be that dominant and now to not be, and for everybody else to be, everybody keeps saying like they're catching up. The gap could not have been closed that quickly like I don't know, man. Like the fact I was talking with somebody and it was just like in the Mexico game, every player looked the same. There was nothing different about anybody, and it was just like it was just so pedestrian from everybody on the field. And I don't know if that's a byproduct of the fact that they're still waiting for the coach to come in, but it just looked uninspired and just it really was like concerning.
Yeah.
Given the fact that we were supposed to win 3 World Cups in a row, but here we are.
Yes, the Mexico game was sort of disconcerting. It was just like, what's going on here? This team does not look like the team that's coming off of, some recent World Cup wins. Mexico, traditionally has just not been on our level. When we play them, it's just night and day. they look good. We look bad. I'm hoping Emma Hayes can put her sort of fingerprints on this team and get the most out of it. Obviously, we have a ton of talent, and that's why I do think that the gap is closing, and it's closing. I think faster than we would have predicted, what we would have thought. But that's what happens when soccer is just ingrained in the culture of Europe and Latin America. They can take the infrastructure, they can take that mindset, the philosophy from early days, and boom, they can be right on our ass. And I think they are, but we still have the depth and breadth of talent in American women's soccer.
But it's a matter of what that talent is. Is it technical talent? Is it athletic talent?
True.
Because it doesn't seem like it's super technical and that there's a great understanding of the game and space and exploiting it, the whole thing. So
that's always been the knock, and we'll see. Obviously that's I assume one of the reasons they brought in Emma Hayes. Somebody who clearly understands the game and can bring some tactical new to the team. So we'll see when she gets over here whether we look a little different. It will be interesting. On Wednesday we got the semifinals. First we got Brazil and Mexico, followed by Canada and the US. I know the games are on Peacock. I don't know if they're actually going to be on TV. Beating Canada, which is just sort of walk in the park. Obviously, Canada is a serious opponent. Hopefully we do that. I'm rooting for Mexico to beat Brazil and then to beat Mexico in the final. That would be a delicious little bit of immediate revenge. Okay. Stoppage time. Ivan Toney's best bets is where we start. We are not cooking with thermonuclear gas, but we did pretty well last week. We went 3-1 because one of the games was postponed, unfortunately. So that was on Friday, which was actually my favorite game of the 5. Bray Wanderers was hosting Longford Town in the Irish Premier League. That was postponed, but we did win Inter Atalanta on Wednesday and Hartlepool Barnet Saturday and Winterthur Iverdon on Sunday. Those felt good. Unfortunately, we lost Marathon Victoria. I think that was Honduras on Thursday. So that was the only loss. But we're back at it. We are back at it today or this week. We're going to start on Wednesday with a weird one. So it's actually a Europa League game that is being played on Wednesday. Obviously, you don't get a lot of those, but Sporting Lisbon hosting Atalanta in Europa. I like that on Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to the Europa Conference League. Ajax and Aston Villa. That game, that might have, double-digit goals in it.
Yes.
Friday, you got Young Ajax, NAC Breda in the Eerste. Quick shout out to Young Ajax, just absolutely saving my bacon today. I basically did a parlay with Arsenal and Sheffield United, and then with Young Ajax and one of the all-stars of the overtrained Cambuur of the Netherlands. And it looked like Cambuur and Young Ajax were basically going to take me down. And I made one of those bets. So you kind of feel like, okay, this is a little bit much in terms of the units. Like,
okay. That's where we're starting to draw the line.
Oh yeah. I was like, this is a little bit, let's be a little careful here. And I was not careful, and it looked bad. It was 0-0 at halftime between Cambuur and Young Ajax, but they came up big in the second half, 4 goals, 3 of them for Young Ajax. So I'm going to keep riding that train. And so on Friday, we're going to go with Young Ajax hosting NAC Breda in Eerste. Oh, that is a good looking dog right there. Who are we looking at?
It's a good looking dog, isn't it?
Who is it?
That's Nala. She loves overs too.
What's up, Nala? All right, I got 2 more for you, Nala. Saturday, we're going to go to Scotland, 2nd Division, Scottish Championship, Queen's Park hosting Partick Thistle. And then finally, Sunday, I typically try not to do teams twice in 1 week, but I just couldn't do it. On Sunday, Aston Villa hosting Tottenham. You just know there's going to be a ton of good goals there. Aston Villa right now they're the perfect team for overs because they get scored on and they score goals. So we're going to go back to the Premier League where we know it's safe and warm, and mommy's going to make us some nice soup and crackers. And by the way, my whole family is sick right now. That's why that I'm the only one in the household that's not puking my guts out. But that's why I had soup and crackers on my mind with, whatever. Anyway,
you won't eat tacos with chicken and cheese anyway. So
that's right. I keep it nice and simple. I'm a very simple man, Tyler. Very simple.
I know you are. You just like your over. You like your overs. You like your Chipotle, and that's it.
Pacifico. Those are the three. Those are the three right there. So there we go. Aston Villa, Tottenham will close it up on Sunday. Overtrains have been killing it lately. Shout out to, I keep getting comments on socials about it. Shout out to everybody who's been following along. Hopefully we'll keep this train going in the right direction. Now, Mr. Tyler Terrence, what do you got for us this week?
We've got a little Terrence parlay cooked up. And it's a little outlandish, yes, but that's what we do here.
that's
Lazio to qualify.
Okay.
Real Madrid money line, Napoli money line.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Do you have any idea what that'll win you?
10 to pay 200.
Woo! I like it. It.
Thermonuclear, baby.
Dirty boy. All right. Finally, go us. Everyone's favorite segment. We'll finish strong here. I'll let you go first. You got, if you're ready to rock, you or Nala.
Yeah, I think that this Minnesota United team deserves a big shout. Not a lot of positive news from that club over the past 4 months. Adrian Heath getting sacked, missing out on the postseason. Their interim head coach heading over for greener pastures as a head coach of Indy 11 in the USL Championship. Their secondary interim head coach, Cameron Knowles, who I used to cover in the USL, who coached the Portland Timbers 2 team, has just this amazing way about him, and he's gotten everybody to buy in. And sort of like during this purgatory, when they're waiting for Eric Ramsey, the new head coach, to come in, they have gotten a result at a home opener in Austin FC, got 3 points, and then they also got a point against the reigning champs with like kids running around and short-term loan guys, and just like, so that group, man, they battled like fucking warriors, and it was fun to watch. And obviously, like, being on the call for the game was really special. But the late goal and the way that they've handled their business for the first 2 weeks and all of preseason has been really cool. So shout out to the Loons, and one of the best atmospheres in MLS too. Like, and it's not, they're up there. They're all the way up there.
I haven't been there. I've seen the stadium from the outside. I've not been inside. I'm sure it's going to be real nice when I finally get there. But their jerseys are nice too. Didn't even have to mention that. Okay, a couple honorable mentions quickly. Albert Ellis, we know him from Houston Dynamo. He's playing in France for Bordeaux in the second division there. He got a nasty head injury last week, and he was in an induced coma. It sounds like all signs are positive. He's he's waking up, I guess is what they're saying. Nothing but obviously positive vibes, and hopefully he continues to heal and recover. He's only 28 years old. I mean, Jesus, that's just scary stuff. Hopefully he bounces back. Couple of these are sort of such a wild range of ones I got written down here, but similar story. Katarina, not similar, but on the injury front, Katarina Macario, who was kind of the next up for the women's national team. She's been injured for like the last 2 years. She just came back after 21 months off, scored in her first game for Chelsea. So shout out to Katarina Macario for that. Hopefully she'll be back on the women's national team scene very quickly. Pulisic, I had Pulisic written down because he basically proved himself as like a CONCACAF king. Getting two different was it Lazio players red carded over the weekend. Guendouzi was the hilarious one in stoppage time, where basically Pulisic pulled his arm, kind of a total sort of shithouse move, and just admitted, basically, I'm stopping you from running. And Guendouzi, retaliated. And of course, Guendouzi is the one who gets the red card. My go for the week, though, is I have so many more, but I gotta cut it off. I'm not gonna give it to MK Wimbledon for beating MK Dons, which is the team that stole their club. I'm not gonna give it to the Botafogo players who pulled their teammate back onto the field from off the field because he was injured, and then Fluminense players came and grabbed the same Botafogo guy and pulled him off the field, and then the Botafogo teammate who was actually on the sideline waiting to come in the game pushed him back onto the field. Just absolute incredible shithouse move by those two Brazilian teams. My goal for the week goes to Eric Ten Hag, and this actually goes back to last week when you called out Bruno Fernandes for just sort of faking injury and getting
a fucking rat. Yeah.
For being a rat, right? So this is same thing. Eric Ten Hag demanded an apology from Fulham. So Fulham posted a TikTok making fun of Bruno, who watched United.
I think the caption was "Glad he's all right" or something like
glad
that.
he's okay. I think it's something like that. And Eric Ten Hag, first of all, this is just a terrible look for Bruno, and basically tangentially for Manchester United. Eric Ten Hag made it infinitely worse by saying give me, we need an apology from Fulham, from what, their TikTok social administrator, for making fun of Bruno. No, Bruno, it's a terrible, terrible look. If you're hurt, stay down. If you're not, get your ass up. And if you don't, prepare to face some consequences. And just a lighthearted TikTok is the least of it. Like, if people should be, whatever. Anyway.
You got bigger fish to fry. And by the way, coaches need to start cracking down on their players, because it's just a bad look for the club too. Like,
Terrible.
it's a bad look for everyone. Terrible. Like, if he's not telling Bruno in the locker room to like chill the fuck out and not do that anymore, then I mean, we already know that he's not good at his job. But that just adds to the narrative.
Unbiased opinions only, Tyler. That's why we pay you the big bucks around here. You're the man. Yeah. Thank you as always for coming on, Mikey. He had to hop off to go live with something. I don't know. Vince Vaughn and him are doing some special on YouTube about Curb. Actually, I completely made that up. But shout out to Mikey for jumping on, and shout out to Nala and everybody else who listened in this week or watched us on YouTube. You guys are the best. We'll be back bigger, better, faster, stronger next week. See you guys then.